at the time when I was studying, I was very convinced by the literature that showed how growth, which is used as a proxy for social welfare, really fails to capture the substantive goals of what we want and need in our society. So it's why I'm always still a bit surprised that the alternative is also still using this terminology of degrowth, while I think the critique equally applies to that it still doesn't put a finger on what we really need and don't need for a good society and a sustainable society in the future. They are multiple. They relate to value of health, of care, for affordable and accessible food, so nutrition, shelter, housing, so mobility, but also access to the internet, political voice. So these are substantive goals, I would say, for social policies to increase these social rights for everyone in society. And I think, so using degrowth as the solution or the denominator doesn't really tackle all the issues that are underneath.
And you also see some blind spots.
I think in the degrowth literature, in which I'm not an expert, but I think the potential lever of finance is really a bit underexplored. They tend to go into discussions of whether we can afford transition, or whether the welfare state redistributional systems are compromised if you go towards degrowth. But really, the analysis of how the finance system is currently channeling the financial streams in our society to certain goals and not to others, to certain investments and not to others, to the ones we need, is really the consequence of a regulatory framework, the rules by which banks and financial system work. And I think there's really a lot of potential to make policy that this financial framework is in line with societal goals that would enable what is currently deemed impossible because of too little resources of the state, which is really maybe not the essence of the analysis.
Talking about regulatory frameworks, I guess we best then look at the European level to change these things?
Both at the European level, yes, of course, the monetary instruments are very important and can hardly be overestimated, but also at the national level within states, there could be drawn sustainable finance plans, where there could be rules on how, for instance, the public finance is channeled to the goals, the projects that we need, and not anymore to the project that we know need.
Okay, and in order to see what we need, we don't need, we also have to make sure we leave no one behind. This is called the just transition principle. I think this is also key for building another economy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see that just transition is a concept that has a very bit of a vague definition. Everyone can adopt it and use it in its own context or for its own goals and terms. So I think it is increasingly acknowledged that the social dimension, the social justice dimension, distributional as well as procedural, is really important for bringing a sustainable society about, and that there's still a lot of discussion necessary to determine which social justice, how to understand it, and how can we implement it in policies. But I think this notion of just transition is certainly helpful to bring the debate to those kind of questions.